Motorola's Radio Management, the Introduction. Radio management allows you to manage and program multiple radios at a time. Radio code plugs can now be stored on a central database server. Central database storage allows for remote configuration of code plug data and remote programming of radios. A single code plug can be used as a template, which can be shared across multiple radios. Template edits may then be easily applied to all affected radios. Many individual radio identity settings can be reviewed or edited directly without having to reopen a code plug, thus allowing for quick and easy access to radio parameters. Changes to a template or to an individual radio's parameters can then be easily scheduled as a programming job. Programming jobs may be scheduled through an over-the-air connection or through a USB connection when radios are physically attached. With a USB connection, gang programming and gang flashing allow for simultaneous programming and software upgrading of up to 16 radios. The four major components. The four major components of a radio management system, also known as RM, include the RM server, the RM client or RMC, the RM device programmer, and the RM job processor. In this order, let's now take a more detailed look at each one of these RM components. To begin with, the radio management server is ultimately the central data storage component and the automated job manager component of your radio management system. More specifically, the RM server stores all code plug archives, all individual radio identity settings, and all template settings, as well as all scheduled job and job history information. Also be aware that the RM server continually manages the distribution and tracking of all radio programming jobs, even when the system is unattended. And do note that the RM server utility is always available when needing to view or manage certain server behaviors and database-related tasks. Utility features include RM server status, server settings, backup the server database, restore the server database, move the server database, and computer authorization for a multi-computer deployment. The Radio Management Client, which is also known as the RMC, is the second RM component in this example. The RMC is accessed from the CPS Ribbon Bar's Tools menu. Within your radio management system, the RMC is the primary user interface for viewing, editing, and defining your radio management data. RMC fleet mapping capabilities include features such as grouping and sorting of data by any desired column. In this radio view, the RMC allows for viewing and editing of radio IDs. Other edit-capable views include the System View and the Data Profile View. From the Job View, the RMC allows for viewing the job status of all scheduled jobs. And from the Radio Details View, you may view the job history of any specified radio. Additionally, within the RMC, a single radio's code plug is converted to a programming template, which can then be selected and shared by multiple radios. Do also note that all radio management programming jobs are created and defined in the RMC. The third radio management component is the device programmer. Programming jobs that are defined in the RMC are then stored and waiting in the RM server and are ultimately performed by the device programmer. Through either an over-the-air connection or a USB connection, once a radio's presence has occurred in the device programmer, waiting jobs may then be performed. Note that a device programmer can continually perform read and write jobs even when the computer is unattended or when a user is not logged on. Also, be aware that the device monitor, which is accessed from the Start menu, allows you to define preference settings for the device programmer and allows you to view the current job operations occurring within the device programmer. And always remember that it is not required to have the device monitor running in order for jobs to be performed by the device programmer. The fourth and final radio management component in this example is the job processor. The job processor validates all data supplied to and received from the RM server. For write jobs, the job processor validates and combines template information with radio identity information to create a code plug, which can then be written to the radio. For read jobs, the job processor validates and separates the code plug data. This data separation creates template information and radio identity information, which is then stored in the RM server. The deployment options. To meet your operational needs, a radio management system can be deployed in a variety of configurations. For instance, the all-in-one deployment is the most basic deployment configuration. In this configuration, all 4 RM components are installed on a single computer. This configuration is useful in scenarios where all radio programming is accomplished locally. Therefore, this configuration is ideal when there is no need for remote user access or remote radio access. With this configuration, there are no network firewalls or routers to consider. Alternatively, the power and flexibility of an RM system becomes very apparent in a distributive deployment, where the 4 radio management components may be installed on multiple computers in different locations. For instance, RM allows for multiple RMCs, enabling remote programming from multiple locations. RM also allows for multiple job processors, enabling load balancing of programming jobs. And the RM allows for multiple device programmers, enabling programming from different locations, convenient to the physical location of your radios. Note that in a distributed deployment, installed components must have clear network connectivity to the server. This may require network configuration changes to allow network connectivity through routers and firewalls.